Hi, if you just tuned in, welcome to the Electronic Show Live. I'm your host, Tommy Helgevold, and I'm glad to have you here. I'm not really sure how many people have joined right now because this is almost not official still, but we are doing live tests right now with live streaming this stuff, and I have a lot of new equipment to do this. Um, So instead of editing videos in the future, we will be doing live streaming of the electronic show instead. And I'll try to do it as often as I possibly can, because sometimes when I come home from work, this is what I do anyway. I mess around with electronics, so you might as well watch what I'm doing when I'm doing that. So if you just joined, today's topic is going to be teardowns. So that's always fun to do, and it's really quick as well, and it can be a lot of fun to do. All right, I was going to talk a little bit about 80s stuff and 80s computers, just like yesterday we talked about the Commodore SX64, which were a vintage computer, you know. This computer here, as you probably know. Yeah, I have a new setup, so it's going to look a little bit different. I have a camera downstairs here too, so we can look at things closer together, stuff like that later. But the Commodore 64 we were talking about yesterday, that was something like this, and the one that I had, we made a little, was the Commodore SX64, which looks something like that. And we tried some games on it. So if you missed that show, you can watch that on my channel. It's easy. Every single show that's here being done live, if you miss that, you will be able to watch it live, watch it recorded later when you have seen it live. I'm a little bit tired today. Sorry about that, because I've been working really hard today, because normally I have been sleeping during the day and doing this show during the night. But as work is coming on, I possibly have to change that. So I'm trying to make day into day and night into night again. But I'm going to try to see if I can live broadcast at least between 9 and 10 o'clock each and every night. Sometimes we'll do it longer, like the 2 hours or 3 hour sessions we had before when we were testing. So if you're joining, welcome to you. I don't have the third screen up right now, so I don't know if you're joining or anything like that. But we're gonna get there. I just wanted to say hi to you guys. So I started the show around 9 o'clock, 2100 hours Central European time. Okay. Let's get back to today's topic. We're going to talk about MIDI sequencers from the 80s. As you can see, there's various MIDI sequencers from Roland. A MIDI sequencer is essentially a recorder which you can use for recording music with the help of synthesizers. I don't know if you ever had an old 80s synthesizer. It could be a Roland DX50, like I have. That was one of the world's first multi-digital and slash analog synthesizers all in one. It was mostly digital with a lot of sampling, but it used analog handling of the sound, if you like, PCM sounds and stuff like that. And also the Yamaha DX7, etc. You can see it a little bit here. Let's see here. There are some old retro synthesizers right there. There's a D550, which is essentially a synthesizer module where you have the entire synthesizer inside of the module there. So essentially it's just a MIDI module. And if you don't know what MIDI is, well, you can take a look at here, this behind the synthesizer. Here you can see there are some MIDI outputs there, and or inputs. This is just a throughput. You usually have to connect in and out, the out and in of the whatever device you're connecting. And if you're connecting this to the computer, that was a way to use your device to play back high quality sounds. Today, most of this is done on your computer instead. So you do this on your computer instead of doing it on just on the synthesizers, because you have to understand synthesizers are really expensive. It's much cheaper to keep all the sounds on your PC, which is a very advanced musical instrument anyway if you use it correctly. But before that, in the olden days, they actually used something like this. This is a Roland MC50 microcomposer. It looks like this. It's gathering a little bit of dust. One of my friends in Sweden, who is also a musician, and he runs a magazine as well, he gave me this one because I had a Roland D50, which I thought this one could be useful for. But I found a composing unit later that has a sound module inside of it. This thing does not come with a sound module. Well, it has a small one that's used for a metronome. It says tick, 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 tick. So you can time yourself when you're playing music and stuff like that. It also has a floppy disk, as you can see here. It has a floppy disk, and a floppy disk is simply a computer's disk station, which you can record your songs basically onto it. You can't really record your sounds onto this particular unit, but you can record your basically sounds, basically notes on it. So it's just the general score actually. That's what they do. So I just have a standard disc here I just found, which is formatted. And technically this entire thing here is like an entire PC built right inside. I will be switching on a extra computer here now, so while you guys do that, I'll let you look around a little bit, so you get an idea what today's topic is about. I'm going to go right back so I can actually see that the live show is working, and I can see your comments as well. I have a third computer for this. I'll be right back. I just gotta turn that thing on, and that's a little time that took. It will be on my left screen soon, so I can see your comments and stuff like that. But I was thinking that today we will do a teardown of this thing, because that could be kind of fun. I think so. So I was thinking we're gonna just tear this thing apart, see if we can open it, and see what's inside this beast, because this is kind of interesting. This is like an entire computer setup in just one station. This was meant to be used live, if you like. So it will be interesting to take a look inside of it and see how it looks. So we're probably gonna do that. I'm just gonna set up my second computer here so I can see you guys and say hi to whomever is coming online. So let me start Chrome on the other computer. There you go. YouTube. Alright. Stupid password ring thing here. I don't want that. Don't need that on that computer. And we have a dead keyboard. There it woke up. I have a remote controlled keyboard for that one. It's this one. It doesn't quite work properly. Let's see if we can type it here. There you go. Doesn't always work. There you go. This time it works. writing my name here so I can watch my channel. There you go. It's live and all that. That's good to know that it always works. It's live now. Okay, good. And there you go. Okay. Yeah, blow it up. Well, yeah. It is actually a 16 channel, 128 parts, 8 track. So it's an 8 track recorder, actually. So it's going to be interesting to see how well that thing will fare when we do this. I'm going to need a screwdriver for that, so I'll go get one. I'll be right back to you. And welcome to Luke and Peter, who has just been joining us. Interesting. One of these screwdrivers had some oil in it. I don't know exactly why it does, but yeah, it has some oil in it. It wasn't very good. I'll try to dry that off. But anyway, let's get started. Let's see if we can open this and tear this baby apart and see what happens. And it's gonna take a few screws, I guess. It's pretty nifty that we now have this extra camera, so no longer we have to move around the camera, zoom it around. A good way to remember where this is going to be a teardown, of course, but I think I still want to keep this unit, because after all this is a retro thing, but I'm gonna just see if I can assemble it after I've opened this again. So a good way to remember where the screws goes is to place them nearby each, well, where they used to be, like a formation, if you like, because sometimes these screws can be very different. They can have different lengths, and there you go. There's one with a different length already, and there's also a different screw. It's a machine screw, this type here. So I'm gonna have to put that in the corner for itself. And yet a different screw. Alright. And one here. Yet a different screw. Oh, what a time we lived in back then. I mean, we had to remember all these things when we were servicing these things. If you are tearing something modern apart these days, no, Luke. Luke is asking this question. Luke is asking, have those been laying in your house for a while, or did you get them specially for the video? Well, that's a good question. No, this has been laying in my house. I got this from a friend roughly 3 or 4 years ago. I was actually thinking I was going to use this device, and I did use it briefly too. It works really well. But then later on, what I did is that I used one of my old computers as a how many track I want recorder, if you like. I'm using it as a waveform playback device, or just use Audacity and have as many tracks as I like. So that rendered essentially this device useless, if you like. Otherwise than that, if you don't want to have a computer connected, this is actually a pretty sweet device. You can use it to compose music with. So that's actually pretty cool. Okay, not a special machine screw for that. It's a good technique to use this order system, as you can see here, because that means it's going to be possible for me to assemble it properly without having to worry about this. It's really ridiculous. kind of looks first normal wood screw, plastic screw, then a machine screw, and then wood screw, then machine screw again. So yeah, special device. Probably gonna find out why when you open this this thing, so why it is like that. I have no idea. Alright, that should do it. If there's not, oh yeah, there's a few behind here as well. I can see there's some screws here. I need to get that as well. And that's a thinner machine screw than all the other ones. Really cool. Not really, just me being angry, because that's kind of annoying. Let's see if that's probably more to the right. This thing, I have no idea. It sounded like something were coming loose inside when I did that. That should take care of all the screws, I hope. So let's see how this puppy looks inside. I'm kind of curious because I've never actually opened this myself. So I'm curious how this Midi recorder, the sound, this note recording device could possibly look inside. And I'm also equally curious, did they get all the screws? But I think so, because sometimes the screws are inside here as well. So yeah, they could be. So I don't know. Let's see if I can get this open somehow. Pry it open. Yep. See if it comes loose here somehow. Oh, there's one more screw. I can see that. There's one more on top here. Another one. Just to irritate me. Just to irk me. There's another one. Okay, that should take care of it. Okay, we have a winner right here. Okay, there's the floppy drive and stuff like that. This is how it looks inside. Let's take a closer look. What do we have here? Just chip says something here. Let's see. I'm gonna need my glasses as usual. You guys can probably see this, but yeah, Luke, I have no idea what these cost at the time, but they were really expensive. Everything was quite expensive. I remember I couldn't afford the Roland D50. I loaned it from a music store back in the days, and they wanted 17,000 Danish or Norwegian kroners for it back then. So in the 80s, that was a big chunk of money. Okay, what we have here, I think, seems to be a memory chip. So I think this is some kind of simple memory chip. Right here we have a Roland M60014. That could be a memory chip too. I'm not really sure. Maybe that's a microprocessor. This one is called the Hitachi, because this is the sign of Hitachi. HD 64-180. Yeah, I think that's a microcontroller. And I think this is the RAM actually. This says M probably for memory, 60,014 and 123 FP. I mean, this could indicate the speed of the memory. I'm not 100% sure. So just to find out, we could actually Google this unit. You can obviously see we have the disk drive here, which looks like a really nicely designed disk drive. It looks better than the one I had in my Amiga, and even better than some of the other ones I've seen on the portable computers. So it's a pretty nice design, but very typical for the 80s. So I was thinking maybe we should Google this just for fun and see what we can come up with. Let's take this processor first, or whatever it is. It is a Roland M60014. See what it says. That's not what it says. Let's see here. Plotter. Oh, no. Maybe it's a different number or something. Maybe it's the Roland or 522. Let's try that instead. I'm confused by the other mouse. I'm going to remove that so I don't get confused by that every single time. I have two PCs online here at the same time. Let's see here. Roland or one says 15229. It says Roland or 15229889889. That doesn't yield anything at all, so this must be some kind of a special chip. But I'm guessing that this is the memory chip. Let's check out the other chip. This is normal. This is not a Roland chip. This is a HD64. HD64. It almost sounds like it could be one of those driver chips for an LCD screen or something like that. But let's check it out. And it says RF6 6X. Okay, it is definitely some kind of a microcontroller. Let's check this out. Yeah, it is an 8-bit CMOS processing unit. So in fact, this is the controller. This little puppy here, this one here, is actually the controller chip for the entire unit, actually. So how expensive was it, Peter? Did you find out what it cost? Because Luke is asking here how much one of these units cost. And Peter is saying, shit, that was expensive. So I'm supposing it cost a lot of money. So do you know the answer, Peter? Okay. If not, I'm going to Google it anyway, just for fun. It's a semi-professional unit. I can understand that it costs a lot of money. You have to think about this is like replacing a whole entire computer setup. You don't have to have a Midi computer in order to do this, and you can save the results on a floppy disk like this. So you didn't need your computer to do that. I think this one uses the Microsoft format, like an MS-DOS or something like that. I'm not really sure about that. But let's see if there's more stuff underneath. There seems to be, well, yeah, I don't know if it's worth taking apart even more, but let's do that. So I'm gonna check it out even further. There's a lot of stuff to be removing here. I may have to remove the disk drive first. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna try to remove the shielding of this one first, because if you can see here, the disk drive here is sort of holding this part together, but it could be a two-parter. I'm not sure if I have to remove the disk drive first. Maybe it would be a good idea anyway. So, well, Luke is asking. Oh yeah, Peter was referring to 17,000 for the D50. Well, we're not talking about this unit, Peter. We are actually talking about the synthesizer, the D50 synthesizer. That was really expensive back in the day, and that's not unusual. In Norway, you had to pay roughly 11 or 12,000, I think, for the Yamaha DX7, which is also a classic synthesizer. So that's not that unusual, actually. Luke is asking how much this thing can withstand. Well, it was made to go on the road, and my guitar playing friend, oh yeah, this one is stuck here, so I probably have to remove the disc first. My guitar playing friend, he used this one on the road, and he is not really kind to his computers. I've seen that. I'm not going to mention his name on the internet, but you know, he used to be my former employer, and he wasn't kind on the technical devices. I can tell you that much. He would just smash the things. he would just lug them around just like a road musician would do, and he couldn't even care less if that happened. So yeah, I do believe that these things, since they are meant for musicians, they have to handle quite a lot. Okay, we have the floppy drive. The floppy drive looks exactly like a standard floppy drive. It's made by Panasonic. It's a model JU253A3M for those people who wants to Google that. And it looks like a really nice floppy disk. It looks very pretty. Everything here looks like it hasn't been used, actually, because I don't find any dust or anything like that, and it's highly unusual when you consider how this is might be used on a road or something like that. And you can see this is probably really static sensitive as well, because you can see they're taking great care to have shielding. Even though the box itself is just plastic like this, they have taken great care to shield the unit from any outside interference. And that's not really a surprise either, because they did that back in the 80s. If you tear down one of the Atari video games, then you can see they did that as well. I think this one is stuck to the keyboards on top or something like that. I'm not really 100% sure, but I think I need to remove all the buttons and stuff like that, and I'm not gonna do that because that's just stupid. But I was kind of hoping to get this one opened so I could show you guys. Oh, there it comes off. That was easy. That wasn't hard at all. Alright, there we have this is surprising. It actually has a standard display unit. And I do believe that this is an Hitachi compatible. Even though it's made by Epson, I do believe this is one of the Hitachi compatible displays. You know, just like a normal regular LCD display. I have one of those. Actually, I have more than just one of those. I have a whole lot of those. Let's see if I can find some of them for you. It's up here. I got plenty of these displays everywhere. And this is kind of a common display that I'm using myself when I'm developing with microcontrollers. And this is like what we used to refer to as a Hitachi compatible display, because they have this is like a mini computer, if you like, all in one unit that that you can program, if you like. This can be programmed, and it is like an all-in-one unit. And you can connect it to Arduino and everything else. So technically, if I tore this one apart and didn't use it anymore, I could always use the display. Not in my case, because I'm sort of in a luxury situation when it comes to displays. I got tons of this stuff, so I don't have to worry about this at all. Okay, Luke was asking how much electrical power this unit can withstand. I don't know how much it can withstand. I mean, it probably uses a typical 9 volts power supply. It probably needs 1 ampere or something like that at 9 volt in order to power it up. But yeah, let's take a look at these chips here. This is going right back to my territory in my days. So yeah, this is kind of interesting. Let's see what we have. We have a couple of Okie circuits. Okie dokie circuits. Let's see what we have. And I don't even need glasses to read this one. Let's see if I can bring it over to you guys so you can see it. We should have some more lights here. I might make a microphone boom light in the future, because I have made this, I think myself, is a very smart solution, where we can actually just use the microphone boom for the camera. So I'm betting a lot of YouTubers are going to take that idea to heart in the future, because I haven't seen anybody using that. This is an Okie M514256. Yeah, this is probably, and I am guessing this is a 64K chip, Oh, yeah, I think this is a 64K chip. We can Google that later. There is another Roland chip, and I do believe this is a specialized chip. This is a weird chip. It doesn't come on a socket, but it has this weird format. Oh no, wait, it looks kind of normal. It's just kind of beveled, so it looks smaller than normal chips. So I guess, but it is a specialized chip. It says R15209-267. I'm reading it as upside down, but that's okay. And we have another chip that's called VDC 85 VD1772PH. My guess is that this would be a floppy disk controller. I'm guessing that this is a floppy disk controller. So yeah, that would probably be it. Let's see what else we have. We have normal CMOS circuits. This is a 4000, and that's probably just a normal gate of some sort. And we have a TTL circuit, 74. But as I say, LS5. I'm not really sure what the 5 is, but it's probably just a NAND gate or an AND gate or OR gate or something like that. I don't remember all the details on those in my head, but that's just a standard TTL circuit. And we have another TTL circuit here that's 74139. But let's Google that. I think that's a memory chip. That's an Oki M5. I'm gonna put that in here. Oki M5, let's say 14256. Alright, let's see what it says. I'm guessing it was one of those 64K ones. Yeah, it's 255 word, 4-bit dynamic RAM. 16-bit dynamic RAM can be used as well. Okay, this is not a 16-bit unit. This is a 256. So this I do know. Let's see the data sheet for this. All right. It's interesting. It's a 4-bit, not a 8-bit RAM. It's a 4-bit. And do they count 4-bit as a word? Because if this was 256, it would be a 64K, I believe, or at least a 32K. But I don't know how much this is. But actually we can look at that later. I don't remember that. Okay, but we have another thing that's really weird here. Look at this. It's a little bit corroded. But it probably works. Can you see that thing? Yeah, I'm pointing at that thing. I think that's a piezo speaker. It's probably used for the metronome or something like that. That's what I'm guessing it is. It's close to the metronome output too. It says there's a buzzer, of course. But I think I have those. Let's see if I can find those somewhere. Let's see if I can find those. I think I have those somewhere. If I look around, those are quite common in my house, I believe. Yeah, there they are. Those are neat little piezo speakers. They're not really buzzers as such, but they probably had a little tone generator inside of it. And just to switch back so you guys can see it a little bit easier. These are what they call the buzzers inside. You can see the similarity. If you look closely, you can see that it looks exactly like these. And I have them in different sizes and shapes and stuff like that. It is basically a high frequency speaker, so to speak. It can also be used to create piezoelectricity, which I showed in one of my earlier videos. So yeah, it can be used to do that. Luke is asking, is there any good website where you could buy floppies? Good question. I don't know. I have never needed floppies from websites. The only place that I can imagine you could find floppies as many as you need would be eBay. And since floppy disk doesn't really weigh a lot, it will be easy to just ship it to your own home. It's probably not going to cost you a lot of money. But I found a really good source for floppy disks, and that is second-hand markets. In America, they used to call it thrift stores, and that's a great place to find such things. So I would go there if I were you. So just go to a local second-hand store and see if they have some old floppy disks. I have bought many packages of different floppy disks and even different sizes from the local thrift stores. So they do have that. So yeah. Right. Okay, let's put this thing together. Let's see if you can make bets now out there in internet land to see if I can actually put this thing together again. So make your bets, folks. See if I can put this thing together. Before we put this together, this is the encoder wheel of some sort. It is really, it looks like it's analog of all things, because it looks like it uses a endless potentiometer or something like that. It's quite possible, but it is an endless wheel. It doesn't stop anywhere. It just goes endlessly like this. So my guess, it is just a endless potentiometer in a way. So it uses that to detect the direction and increase or decrease the numbers of values on the screen as you adjust them, I believe. Right. Oh, you were mentioning floppy disks, Luke. Floppies. Okay, I was thinking you were mentioning floppies as the floppies themselves, not these actual disks. I was thinking you were mentioning these, but not these. Yeah, you can buy these too. I mean, even my local thrift store has one of these. I believe they have 4 or 5 of these. They don't cost much. They sell them for $1 each. So these are not hard to find or hard to get by at all. So I believe you can get some of those, and you don't have to risk a lot of money. This is not a big risk for you if you want one of those. It is probably harder for you to find a computer that can actually support them. You'll have to use an older computer, or you have to buy a special piece of converter. You can buy usually an external floppy disk that is USB compatible and use that instead if you want to read those old floppy disks. That should be possible. And that's probably your best bet yet, I think. Alright, I think we got it back where it's supposed to belong. It feels like it's properly seated. It doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of resistance right here. So I do believe we are in the right step in the right direction right here, right now. Okay, let's see if I can actually remember this. This is what's so good about this system. It makes it much easier to do if I have placed these correctly. Still a little bit cramped in here, even with the specialized camera and everything. Now the interesting question on everybody's mind is going to be, will I be able to fit all of this together and not either, well, have a extra screw? Luke is writing, I do have an old computer that I used to have a floppy disk in, but it got badly damaged. The internals are okay, but the floppy is literally in 2 pieces. Okay. You couldn't find a working one at a decent price. Are you talking about this type of floppy disk? You know, this is a 3.5 inch. There is an older, like the ones I showed you yesterday in the Commodore 64, which is a 5.25 inch disk. So that could be it. Right. But those are the 5.25 The 5.25s are the most hardest to find. I couldn't even find one of those. A friend of mine wanted me to copy some old software so they could transfer some instrument software and make it work again. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to find that unit because it would have helped her to continue to develop some software. And they weren't able to find it online or anything like that. So that's kind of a pity. All right, let's put this thing together and see if we get any screws left over. This is always a classic. In my, I wouldn't call it competing channels, but one of those channels that I'm a fan of, I'm not going to mention who that is, does a bunch of teardowns too, and he's a fun guy to listen to. But I've never actually seen him put stuff together again. So if he's watching right now, I'm teasing him a little bit, you know, because I think he's watching. I have various reasons to believe so. Okay, let's see if I'm going to get a surplus screw if I put this one together here. Nope, I'm not. It's a good way to indicate that I have a screw here that I can use. So I don't have to worry about that when I'm putting it together. What I might have to worry about though is that I put an extra screw in here somewhere, which I didn't, so I'm all good for the moment. So alright, let's see, I'm going to put this one in place, of course. And the power supply to the floppy disk, which is just a standard one anyway. I think I have remembered most of the screws. There might be a couple here that will not be on the back side of this one. Let's see here. This one does not go through there. No, wait a second, I'm holding this wrong. This one goes here, so there's a screw here and a screw here. That does not depend on this one. Alright, that must be these two screws here. That's what I'm guessing anyway. So yeah, let's put that together. Luke is asking, have you ever heard about the so-called USB killers? USB killers? Are you talking about those little USB keys you can actually put inside any laptop, any computer that actually will destroy your USB on whatever you're putting it in on? Or are you talking about those that a hacker made that can actually ruin or destroy your PC? I'm not sure. I have read about that somewhere on slashdot.org, I believe. That is another site I usually like to frequent. It's actually really cool. I've been a member there for many years. I'm going to be careful now so I don't reveal my online identity on Slashdot. So I'm going to go in there. But there's an interesting place. I'm going to log out. Just go incognito on it instead. Hang on. So I can show you this. It's actually a really cool site. They used to call it News for Nerds. And they're trying to keep it as neutral as possible. But you can't always do that. There you go. Oh, Luke was talking about the one that fries the motherboard. So yeah, that's probably on. I've heard about that, yes. I really believe that's a thing. Wielding their Windows phones, Microsoft shareholders grill CEO and Satya Nadella on device strategy. FBI to gain expanded hacking powers and Senate efforts to block fails. Oh yeah, what else is new? And a little bit of Trump news. Trump will get power to send unblockable mass text messages to all Americans. Oh no, they have to listen to his tweets all the time. What a tragedy. We weep for you, America. PC market shows signs of recovery. Okay, that's pretty positive news. That's interesting. But yeah, check this. Oh wow, More than 1 million Android devices has been rooted by Google and malware. Well, yeah, that does happen to Android, unfortunately. I had a virus on one of my Android phones as well. I had to reboot the whole entire thing from factory setting in order to make it work properly again. So that was a bit of a bummer. But yeah, let's go back to assembling this thing again. Let's see if I can still do it without having any extra screws. I think I have an awful lot of screws over there. Is those really just for this back plate? I almost find it hard to believe. But let me see here now if I'm missing anything. If I'm missing a screw. If I have a screw loose. Punning there. Yes. There seems to be one screw here that is not depending on this, and another one could be, I'm not really 100% sure. This is where it gets interesting. Because if I end up not having enough screws, this is going to be super interesting. But I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to go all out in a line and just screw those in place and see what happens. Yeah, I probably could rewind and check, but I'm not going to do that because this is, after all, live nature, and this is half the fun by doing stuff live. So you guys are gonna get a good laugh if if I get it wrong here. So it's worth that. It's okay. I'm not afraid of making myself look like a fool sometimes. But it seems like I have done the right thing. Now it's just a question of identifying the right screws. But I think I can do that, because if you look closely at the screws, there are some machine parts here that have, you can probably see that if I, in the reflection by the logo over there, that has made an imprint that looks different than the plastic holes. It looks like, you can also see the metal here. So it's easy to see where the metal screws actually themselves goes. So this can't be that bad. It can't be that wrong. So I'm not even going to use that system right now, because I can easily see which screws is going where. The interesting part will be if I have actually got extra screws. There's where things will get interesting. Yep. Let's see if we get extra screws. Ooh, yeah. It even shows who this used to be sold by. This was sold by a store called Boogie Music in Vaxö in Sweden. That's interesting. Bit of history right there. But right now it looks like we have a winner right now. So I think I'm gonna get it together, actually. Duct tapes. I get a comment here from Peter. He's suggesting I've just gaffer this together with duct tape. That's probably what musicians used to do anyway. I remember something like that about the roadies and stuff like that. They were always using gaffer tapes, duct tape, to for repairing basically anything. If there was a big humming sound coming from the amplifier or the big PA system, the guitar amplifier, well, just like Peter says, duct tape saves the day. Duct tape. Duct tape is actually what they call it, but you know, duct tape is kind of like a quack thing to have. Well, this is interesting. I'm actually missing a screw, which means I used one screw too much inside of this unit. Okay, interesting. Alright, why not? This was going to get interesting anyway. Yeah, welcome to Benjamin Solberg. If you just joined us, you probably saw that anyway, so you joined us a little while ago. The two chips on the back were not the LCD drivers, I think. They could be the LCD drivers. They really looked like it. But if you saw the LCD itself, it had one of those little blobs on it, which means that the driver chip was directly on, well, at least I'm guessing that. I can't know that for 100% sure, but I believe that it was directly on the LCD itself. Yeah, interesting. I'm actually missing a screw now, which could either indicate that this thing has been opened before and a previous repair person has been missing a screw. It doesn't really matter because it screws these two parts together anyway, so it will hold in place. But yeah, that was kind of interesting. That's a new one. You know, when you put stuff together, you usually don't miss screws. You get extra screws because you've forgotten something inside. The fact that the opposite happened here, that I'm actually missing a screw now that we have all the screws laid out here, well, that can only mean one thing. We either screwed in a screw where they saved some money, or some of those who have looked into this unit before, or maybe an earlier serviceman. This is after all from the late 80s, so somebody has a red face somewhere missing a screw. So yeah, right. Benjamin is commenting that he has a ton of extras from the repair box, project box. You probably mean screws, right? I usually do that myself when it comes to screws. I have a large collection of screws. But these displays, just like the snot I was talking about here, you saw that in the video. Let me show you that. This is the snot I was talking about, this little spot stuff. These are the drivers that's already inside of this. I already know that because I've been messing this up. I know I've been messing with these before. I just read Luke's comment, that's why I said messing these up. So I combined Luke's comment with what I just said. Luke's saying the moment when you realize that you fucked up and lost one screw. Right. Alright. But what I do is that I usually collect a lot of screws like this. So that's what I do. I can usually find one screw that'll fit the bill just fine, because I have taken quite a lot of these apart. This looks like the part that is actually missing, so I can actually give it that. Yep, it fits perfectly. Yep, that is in fact the exact same screw. So I do believe that I heard a sound outside, so that's why I reacted a little bit. There was this weird sound I haven't heard in quite a while. I have no idea what sound that was. It was some kind of alarm, but it wasn't an alarm I was used to. But never mind. I have probably been taking Roland parts, Roland units before apart, because I had exactly the same screw. But I have this little box where I always keep reserve screws, and I usually just do that when I pick stuff apart, when I'm gonna throw some of the electronics away. Then I just keep all the screws instead. So yeah, that was almost an hour's teardown of the Roland MC50 microcomposer. I guess I can type that into the description field now, just in case somebody's gonna search for it. And I'm guessing the two chips you saw on top, besides the logic, was just the ROM chips, because you only had one microcontroller on the other side, which we checked out together when we googled them. So that's all that it takes, a little bit of ROM, a memory chip, some logic to control it all, and that's basically it. And of course the driver chip. I'm guessing the WVDC chip was the driver chip for the floppy drive, the I/O chip, if you like. They usually make those. So I recognize the number in the first place. I have smaller displays too, but kind of comes with a specialty. it says in Danish that this display has this weirdness. Now let's see if I can open that. Let's see that, because I bought this from a store in Denmark. I got them really cheap. These are also one of those with micro. This is probably why you were thinking. This is probably why you were thinking, Benjamin, that this was the driver chip for the LCD, because you're right. Normally they look exactly like this. So that's what they normally look like. But this is the 44 series Hitachi chips. These are really famous. Yeah, Benjamin, WDC could be Western Digital. So definitely, yes. This is a just a standard display with backlight, and it works just like a charm. You can just write to it with the help of an Arduino or microcontroller or anything like that. This is also interesting. It says, this display has this weird thing about it, that it has the number 9 has the address 0 times 40 hex. So that means if I'm programming this with an Arduino, I have to keep that in mind. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind if I ever use them, which I kind of wonder if I ever will. I have been using this earlier to make the digital equivalent of a Magic 8-ball. And for you people out there who don't know what a Magic 8-ball is, I'm going to show you that quickly, because it's a part of American history, not so much European history. It wasn't a part of my history when I grew up in Norway, but it was like a cool little random device which consists of muddy waters and a bowl that looks like a bowling ball, not a bowling ball, but a pool ball, which is the 8-ball of a pool. The Magic 8-ball is kind of like a ball you could ask in the olden days for a question. They would either say yes or no. They already made digital versions of them, actually, but the classic one had some muddy waters inside of it, with a thing that would float up towards the window, and it will give you an answer like this. It has a flotational device inside of it with some characters on it, because a point says to yes, point signs to yes, points. Oh man, I'm getting tired. I'm getting it all wrong. Sign points to yes, sign points to no, maybe, yes, perhaps, etc., etc. So the idea would be that you shook this thing and it will give you an answer. You had to ask it a question. For example, would I get married tomorrow? And you shook it, and it will either say not likely, or yes, or perhaps. And I actually made a digital equivalent. And that was one of my first microcontroller projects many years ago. I actually still have that device. Let's see if I can find it. I think I've shown you this before, but I've never actually shown you how it works. But yeah, this is one of the first ones I built many years ago, and I still have it. It's kind of charming. It is a Magic 8-ball sort of, and you didn't really shake it. I could have put a mechanism in for that, but I didn't do that. You just basically pressed one of these and it'll give you a random answer. Of course, made by used by feeble minds that believes in those things. I don't, but I had a lot of fun playing around with people. I remember I took this to one of the local grocery dealers, and he was really fascinated by this device. He was actually playing with it all the time, and he was asking questions all the time to this thing. So he was like, am I going to win something in the lottery tomorrow? Did I win something last week? And it says yes. Oh my god, it got it right! I did win something last week. And he was like completely obsessed with it. And he actually wanted to buy this thing. He wanted to give me several thousand for it, because he actually genuinely believed that this thing knew what he was thinking. Yeah, there are people out there that will believe basically everything. Of course, I could have been an ass and sold them the device, but I wouldn't want to do that, because, you know, nah, not really. No, I don't think so. It uses a processor called 64 something. I don't remember the number. You have to rewind it and see it because we did Google it together. So if you rewind this video, you'll be able to see what kind of processor it was. I don't remember it off the bat, but it is. It's probably not a Z80. If it was a Z80, I can promise you I would pretty much know because I already have a Sinclair Timex 2000 computer that has a Z80 processor in it, and I also I also have the small Z80 equivalent processors and the full-size Dell DIP versions, dual inline package versions. I do have all of those. So no, it is not one of those. So yeah, I promised you that this will only last an hour today because I was really tired. I haven't been sleeping all night and I haven't been sleeping all day because I've been busy buying this brand new camera for this show. As you can see, it's much clearer, much crisper than it was before, and the colors are better and everything else is better as well, and this focuses automatically now. A web camera that actually focuses. I've never seen that before, but I did Google my stuff before I actually bought this camera because I wanted to find the absolutely best web camera that money could ever buy. And trust me, I have researched quite a lot in order to find the right web camera for this. I have been reading 30 or 40 reviews of different web cameras all over the world, and it came to the conclusion that the best web camera ever produced is not the newest version of the camera, but is an older Logitech C920, not their new model, which is 922. It is not as sharp, but it has better colors, I've heard. But it's not as sharp and as brilliant as their older models. So I went out and bought the Logitech 920. It's actually quite cheap too. It retails for around 1,000 Swedish kroner or something like that, but I bought it at Helgevold or something like that for like 649 or something like that. So it was pretty cheap for an autofocus full HD 1080p camera. I would have gladly paid 3,000 or 4,000 for a proper web camera, but apparently if you Google web cameras, they do not sell web cameras in that price range. Apparently the whole entire world doesn't need super duper broadcast quality web cameras. So what people do, and I trust me, you don't have to mention this because I have been Googling this for days, for weeks, for months. I've been studying this up and down just to find the right solution. Apparently the best way, if you have all the money, to make a broadcast in super crisp detail, just like Good Mythical Morning have. They use apparently a very professional camera. It's either a Sony or a Canon DLS camera with special lenses on it that has full HD recording, and some of them have 4K recording. So they're using that because they're using it as still cameras anyway. So these have much better sensors than a normal video camera would have as well, and much bigger lenses, which means you get a lot of light in. And you can see the improvement already on this just by buying this camera here. If you look at yesterday's video recording comparison to this, you're gonna see it as a lot darker. We can just I'm actually using yesterday's camera as the close-up camera, and as you can see the colors are entirely different, and the strength of the light is entirely different than it is. You can just easily see it here because this is much brighter and there's no noise and everything else, so that's pretty neat. But okay, yeah, it is pretty good. Alright, I am going to shut it down for today. I am very happy that you all joined today. I will be back if I can tomorrow 9 Central European time. That's 2100 Central European time tomorrow as well. And I will be trying to have enough rest so I can do our usual 2-hour show. So until then, I thank you for watching. We had 5 viewers here today, just if you're watching. But it is unlisted, which means I haven't really announced that we are going live yet. These are still just preliminary tests. And as you have been noticing, I have been testing this I've been testing this open source, open broadcast system in conjunction with several web cameras. I'm only using roughly 12% CPU power, which is incredible when you think about how much processing power it would take to do this live. It encodes and decodes everything live. I am being able to switch between 2 full HD cameras and even video sources that keeps running. The logo that you see on screen here is actually a video that keeps running, looping over and over again. So when I do this, for example, this is also a video that goes directly over to name tagging. This is another video. That just ran and overlapped. So actually pretty cool. But okay, I see you tomorrow. Hopefully I'm a little bit more rested and get more ideas. If you have any ideas of what you want to see in the live show in the future, I will ask you to comment below. And getting tired now. Please press the like button if you like this kind of live show, and please do us a favor and recommend the live show. Please copy the links and give them amongst your friends, spread them on Twitter or whatever social media you have, because we are not actually increasing in the number of viewers because we are so incredibly unknown. We have a faithful audience that come every day, which I'm very grateful for, but it doesn't seem to increase. It seems that it's just the same number of people every single time. So I would appreciate if you spread the link around a little bit more, so people get to see the show in the first place. Okay, thank you and good night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. So thanks for watching.